tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale Superman, their most recent addition to their DC Universe figures. As you can see, this is the exclusive version available only through Sideshow. And I'll touch on what that means here in a little bit. But for the package, you can see very simple. On the front here, you just have his very iconic S-shield in addition to the text that says Superman. And then along the side, a very comic book looking logo, again showing Superman. Come around to the opposite side, you got that same logo there. It's black everywhere, and then you just wedge it, it gets stuck, and there we go. When you get it open along the side, you have that same S-shield surrounded by blue and red ribbon kind of here. Then on the front, it's a really nice image of the Man of Steel himself in kind of an artistic rendering. And I love the way that it looks. It absolutely captures that very heroic Superman feel, except you can't really see it because it's kind of far down. So there we go. Coming to the top again, you can see that very iconic look for Superman. One thing that I'm noticing is that his suit has a little bit of that texture very similar to the Man of Steel suit. Now the actual figure doesn't have that, and I'm glad that it doesn't. I like the fact that they kept it a lot more classic looking instead of the texturing. But when you remove that, there you have the clamshell with the figure within. You can see the different heads, you got the extra cape right in there, but packaging wise, that's about it. It's very simple, and I really like it. Kind of keeping this in is kind of hard to do if I want to have it just stand up here, but the package is really great. It's very simple, very comic book-ish, and the simplicity of it just really is very well done. But for the packaging, that's about it, so let's get this guy out here and see how cool he actually is. And as usual, starting off first, let's take a look at his accessories. Now, while he doesn't come with a ton of accessories, what he does come with are actually pretty cool. Now first, in addition to two fisted hands that you have both a right and left hand so that you can get a flying pose, and I really at least got the normal creases and things like that through there, so I do appreciate the detail on there. And like all the Sideshow figures, they do come with pegs for all the hands, which I do absolutely love. Now he's got both a right and left gesture hand. This one is kind of just I'm just waving my hand at you or something like that. This one is, again, I'm just waving my fingers at you. These are like I'm using the force on you kind of hands. I do like that. And then you get one right thumbs up hand, which that's great. I mean, it's Superman. I mean, why not have a thumb where he's giving, or a hand where he's giving everybody a thumbs up? I think that's great. Now, in addition to that, if you go through Sideshow Collectibles, they come with an exclusive version that has an extra hand that's molded and attached to a head of Metallo, which is great. You can see some nice green paint on there, kind of replicating how it looks with his kryptonite embedded in the actual character. But that is a really great looking head sculpt. It's really nice. You got some nice wear around where his actual fingers are going, as if he's just digging his fingers into the metal. And then you come around here, and then you have a neck piece that it just pegs in there, but that neck piece also has some really great details, some nice paint work on there. You got the copper wires there, red wires, but you have it like he's pulling his spine and his head right out from the body. Is great. Now, one other attention to detail that I didn't even expect, but in playing with it, I discovered that they articulated his jaw. I don't know why I like that. I just think that's neat. So you can have him holding his head in Superman's hand, and you can have his jaw just dangling there. It's like, I don't know. I love it. I think that's a great attention to detail. They didn't need to do it, but I think it works perfectly. Now, like I said, the only way to get this is if you ordered it specifically through Sideshow Collectibles. All other retailers will not come with this piece. So this is just an added incentive to get it directly through Sideshow. Now, speaking of heads, he comes with 3 different portraits. Up first, you can see just a standard kind of happy look. He's got a little bit of a smirk on him, and he's just kind of hanging out there. Really great looking head sculpt on here. I mean, what I love is when you get, it's kind of hard to see here on the camera, but I love how they actually captured his blue eyes. That's a wonderful touch. It's very subtle, but if you get it in the right light in hand, you can actually see he's got beautiful blue eyes. And it's wonderfully crafted in there. And then he just has a little bit of a smirk, and it's Superman just kind of being happy. Naturally, he's got the little lock of hair coming down across his forehead. Great look on here. The nice hair sculpted all the way through. Very solid black, very rich color, something that you would expect in Superman and not see any gray hair or anything like that. Really nice detail. I love the jawline on here. Very defined, very noticeable. Really gives an imposing look to the Man of Steel. Now, he also comes with another head, which I think is probably my favorite looking, despite the fact that I don't know if I'm going to display it like this, but this is my absolute favorite head sculpt. And the reason is because you do have these bits, almost like there's venting coming from his heat vision. I mean, again, great attention to detail on there that really absolutely pops. I mean, coming in to look at that, you can see it's covering his eyes, as you would expect heat vision to, when it's coming out of Superman, to kind of do. I mean, that's just really great detail. Again, same hair. You got the little swirl coming down here, but again, something that you're seeing, you can see like his jaw, it's much more pronounced in this. I mean, this is obviously a strong looking jaw, but this, he's just got that determined look, and you can see it in terms of the musculature and sculpting here with the jaw. Really great looking. And in addition to those two, you do get a more determined looking one as well. Not smirky, not with heat vision or anything like that, just a very stern look to him. Now, he also does come with a secondary cape. You can see he's got a cape on him right now, but the secondary one is a different material. This feels more like it's cotton, I suppose, and it feels like it's dual layered. Well, I mean, obviously, I mean, it is totally dual layered. It's stitched together. This one is just single layered, and it feels more like silk. That might not actually be the material that it is, but it's very silky feeling, and it's only one layer. This one is more heavy duty, and the reason is because they have a wire going through the sides that allow you to articulate the cape, and you can pose it in a variety of different ways. I do actually prefer this cape over this. This one looks good when it's just draped over them, but this one I like a little bit more, and I'll touch on the reason why here in a little bit. But you do get this second cape, and as you can see, it's just got the buttons that clasp right here on his shoulder. So we'll take a look at this in here in a minute. But he also does come with a really nice display stand. You can see that it's got a nice Superman logo emblazoned right on there. And then you got the really cool dual pillar thing going on. You can do two different things. Number one, you can remove this, get this pulled off, and then you've got a smaller section that just fits right inside here. And then if you want to, getting that up there, you got the a slot right there. You can put this right in there, and now you can have this just for a standing cradle if you want to, or you can take this out. You can take this, you can plug that back in just like so. If you want to, you can put that back in there. But when you do that, now you have an adjustable flight stand, which has two little C-clamp kind of things right there. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. That allows you to have a little variety in what poses you want to put them in. If you want to have them in a flight pose, you can do it. If you want to have them in a standing pose, just a regular museum style pose, you can do that as well. But I love it. I think that's a great touch, and that's something else that I think that Sideshow separates themselves from. This is just a great addition. And coming to the figure himself, it is really hard for me to look at this and not instantly feel inspired and think back to when I first saw Christopher Reeves as Superman. Now, while this is not a representation of Christopher Reeves as Superman, that classic look is absolutely recreated here beautifully. All the way down from his beautiful symbol here on his chest, you got the nice belt, you come down the boots, which are iconic and just stand out, coming around here to the back with his cape, and you got the nice yellow right on the back there. This guy just looks absolutely terrific. The body on here is very nicely defined, and the stretchy material of his actual costume nicely highlights a lot of that muscle. I mean, you can see some of the ribs and the abs. You got the biceps right here that are nicely defined. Come down here, you got thigh muscles that just pop. Everything on here really is wonderfully done. Now, as I said, he does come with the two different capes. This one is just meant to kind of stand here, which I think looks great by itself. But one thing that I don't particularly like, in order to facilitate the swapping out of the cape, they made it so this piece here kind of tucks underneath, and then you got the little buttons right here. Now, one thing that is kind of unfortunate on mine is it does appear that the buttons are off-centered. Now, getting this as centered as humanly possible, when you do it, and you can see that this kind of goes along his back, now that's lined up, the actual emblem looks like it's off-centered. So then when you take the emblem and you center that, and you get that in his chest, it then offsets these buttons. And then I just saw that my camera went out of focus. Hopefully you can see that. But that kind of bothers me. And you can see where the middle here doesn't go along the actual like spine area. And because of that, when you have the cape on them, and bringing this back in, and again, my camera went out of focus. I apologize for that, guys. Because of that, when you actually look at the back of his cape, why aren't you going? Go in there. Come on. When you look at the actual emblem, and I'm not going to tuck that in right there, but keeping that straight like so, you come around here to the back. His logo on the back now is no longer centered. You can futz with it and kind of get it in the center position, but then it, like I said, it makes the logo here off-centered. That's something that does bug me. Hopefully that's not indicative of all the figures, but the thing also that I really don't particularly like is you have to take this, you have to pull away the body, and then tuck this under, just like so, and then do that on this side as well. And it doesn't stay in there very good. It does, I mean, at all. I mean, if you move the cape, it's going to come right back out. Now, the actual other cape, one thing that I really like about this is, and one of the reasons why I prefer this is with the wire in here, the wire actually comes up here and it goes down. So you can actually get this tucked under and get that staying in. So taking this, popping this off, just like so, and setting that off to the side, you can bring this around like that, lock that down, and then you can bring this around, and like I said, you got the wire right on here, so you bring this up, then you can tuck this underneath like so, and it's going to stay there because it's got the extra wire in there. I don't really think they could have did that with the other one because of the kind of one ply nature of the material, but when you get that in there, and again, it's a little bit, I mean, that's a little bit better. You can bring that around and you can keep that more centered, but it's a much better cape, I think. And then coming back so that you can see the full-on look, one thing that I will say is that it will require some ironing. You can kind of see that it's a little wrinkled right there, but getting that around and just tucking that there, doing that on this side as well, laying that down, you can still get it just kind of flowing there and looking just as good, I think, as the other one. Kind of get that around like that. I don't particularly like how you have to do it like that. I guess I could do it something like that, but it kind of bunches this up, and you guys know I am not very good at posing my figures, but when you're manipulating this, it kind of can get a little bit tricky because these want to pop out, especially with this, and that's one aspect that I don't particularly care too much for, but if you futz with it some, you can actually get it looking really good. But this is my preferred cape. This is the one that I honestly like the most. I do like the fact that this kind of drapes a little bit easier, and it has a nice weight to it. I mean, when you rotate it, you can see there's a nice kind of flow to it. I do dig it. I just wish they somehow would have put the little wire right in here just to keep that locked down. That's just one thing that I personally would like. The other thing that I don't particularly like is what they did here with the belt. Now, I love the way that the belt looks, but you can see that the undershorts here kind of bunch up towards the top. That kind of bugs me. I wish I could keep it up here a little bit more. Now, again, you can futz with it just to get it looking good. You got to pull this and kind of get it like that and do it all the way around. It's kind of a headache at some points to do this, but you're lifting it up like that and then pulling it down so that it just tucks underneath there. I don't particularly like the red here towards the top, and again, you can pull it up and get it, but you do one side and then the other side kind of comes down, so it's like you undo everything that you did on the opposite side, so like that, and then it's not really all that easy to do. So that side doesn't look too bad. Get that up there a little bit more, and it just slides down. That's just because the belt here kind of sticks up there. You can't pull this all the way up. You kind of have to tuck the belt under a little bit. So that's an aspect that I don't particularly like. I think I would have liked it a little bit more if that was all kind of sewn in there or permanently attached to the top, just to kind of give that clean look, I suppose. But beyond that, everything else on the figure looks really great. The head sculpts are wonderful. Like I said, this is the more stern look that he has, and it comes across very nicely. Now, for its articulation, the head here is on a very nice flexible, well, you can see it comes off, but very nice flexible ball joint. You got an upper section here and then a lower section as well, so you can get the neck moving, and you can see that the body is actually a nice rubber, so you can rotate that around and get it really articulated in any direction that you want. The shoulders here move in and out very nicely. It also shifts up and down. They move in and out as well, so you got that little shoulder pivot right there, which is really nice. You got a rotation here at the upper part of the bicep. You got one joint here at the elbow, but I like how it's a ratchet joint, very heavy, so that's not going to slip or anything like that. Then come down here, you got the regular wrist pin that allows forward and back, and it also rotates as well. You got an upper ab crunch. Let me see here. Upper ab, well, it doesn't really crunch down, but you can get it going back, and then the lower section here is also a little bit articulated. You can move that around as well. So you got those points of articulation. The hips move forward, they move back that far, they move in and out, they rotate at the upper part of the thigh. He's got two bends here at the knee, and then down here at the ankle, you can rotate it side to side. You can see that the boot moves along with it. It's actually two pieces. You got the foot and then the upper shin piece as well, but the way that they did it is really very nice, and you can almost not tell that it's two separate pieces. I mean, when you rotate it, that rotates around, and then it pivots forward and back, in and out. So a nice, wonderful range of articulation, but you can see right here, even with this one, it kind of flips out every now and then. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it bent like that. So it kind of looks a little bit better. It requires some futzing, which is a term in the 1/6 scale community that I don't particularly like using, but it applies to this because you do have to manipulate this some to get it to look as good as you want it to, and I think you can get it looking absolutely terrific. It's just it requires some finesse while you're doing it, and if you're talented at posing your figures, it's going to be easy for you. Somebody like me, I stink at it. All in all, I really think that Sideshow is absolutely killing it with their DC figure line, and that includes Superman. As I mentioned, it doesn't come with a ton of accessories, but what it does come with really allow you to just about do anything that you would want for Superman. I mean, a display like this, where Superman's holding Metallo's head with the heat vision kind of radiating from his eyes, just looks so very cool. Despite a few minor things that I don't particularly like personally on the figure, everything else I think comes together very, very well. The portraits and the head sculpt look amazing. The costume material really works very nicely. It's that stretchy kind of material that really accentuates the muscular frame for the body that they're using. And while I don't particularly like the way that this cape functions, I love the way that it looks and feels. I just like this one a little bit more because you can get more dynamic kind of poses with it. And keeping that flared out, I mean, it just looks amazing. And while it requires a little bit of work to get this to look good, I think it's possible to do. I'm just honestly one of those collectors that I like taking the figure right out of the box and having it be basically ready to go. I'm not a futzer. But this figure, 95% of it doesn't require that much work. But, I mean, it's Superman, one of the most iconic characters in all of American pop culture. So this guy's going to be held to a very high standard. But all in all, I really think that Sideshow delivered with this. So if you are interested in getting this guy, unfortunately, the exclusive version with the Metallo head is sold out, but the regular version is still available. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You go to Sideshow Collectibles where you can pick it up and add it to your collection today. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/Optibotimus. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my new website at OptibotimusReviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own Optibotimus t-shirt. And finally, I'd also really appreciate it, guys, that if you like this review, don't forget to please like, comment, and share this video. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.